Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Guapish. Today, I'm being joined by some very intellectual lads, if I do say so myself. First up here, we are being joined by the man who is studying hard for the Piaget conservation test, Tanner.
Indubitably.
And the boy who has unfortunately fallen for the cabgrass delusion, Jackson.
What?
And an unfortunate victim of the Dunning-Kruger effect, Dylan.
Oh, I do say, I can't believe it.
And today, my boys, I've got something very, very special planned for us, alright? Today, we are doing a quiz of sorts, one based around intelligence, philosophy, as it were, in which I will be presenting you with various philosophical dilemmas and attributing points based off of your answers to them.
I didn't do so well at this last time.
This sounds like the most arbitrary quiz we've had yet.
Don't worry, Tanner, it's gonna be great.
Dude, this is gonna be just like last time we did a philosophy thing for me.
Yeah, exactly, but now you'll all be put under the microscope here, and I will be grading you based off of how well explained your answers are, the consistency with your previous answers, just how objectively correct you are, as well as just overall how based your answer is. Does this sound pretty good to you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
Alright, fantastic. Well, guys, if that's the case, then, I guess we may as well just kick off here with our very first one. So, obviously you'll all be answering at the same time. No reason to, have to buzz in or anything like that. So, for this first one here, I'm going to need you guys to determine which of the following Yu-Gi-Oh cards is not real.
God damn.
You motherfucker. Alright.
Blue Eyes Absolute Dragon, Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, or Blue Eyes Jet Dragon.
What sucks is I feel like I've heard all of these.
Yeah.
It's absolute spelled with a delta sign.
That's correct.
Fuck.
Guys, consider he's learned and evolved over the last ones. He's taken in our, suggestions of, how to do this. We might have fucked ourselves if I'm being completely real.
I'm locking in Blue Eyes Absolute Dragon.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Blue Eyes Jet Dragon.
For absolutely no reason at all, I'm going to say Blue Eyes Absolute Dragon. That one seems right to me for no particular reason.
All right, fantastic. We are starting off with points on the board here, and that is, in fact, points plural, because Dylan and Jackson got it correct.
I am not going to do this the whole time. This will be a very uninteresting competition if I just choose what Jackson chooses. I just wanted to start off strong.
Yeah. Not a terrible strategy, to be honest.
I knew it was either Blue Eyes Absolute Dragon or Jet Dragon, because I remember this exact image of Blue Eyes Toon Dragon popped into mind, and I'm pretty sure Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon's been in a previous one, but maybe Oh,
I looked back to make sure none of these Blue Eyes were in other ones.
Well, then what can I say? I've got photographic memory or some shit, I don't know.
You've got schizophrenic memory. You're inventing fake memories.
Yeah.
That could also be possible, dude. I won't deny it.
Alright, well, starting off strong here for a couple of you. Let's move right along. This next one is themed around... Stop being cheeky. That's not how that word is spelled. So, we are kicking it off with Nightmare Unicorn, Fish of the Deep Beyond, Ignite Paladin, and Cyber Ninja Strider.
Oh my fucking God.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna say Fish of the Deep Beyond. There's no fucking way. I know what that first word is referencing. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think the Japanese are that on the nose about it.
I'm locking in the same one as Dylan.
Okay.
Motherfucker.
I'm gonna go Cyber Ninja Strider.
Okay. Is there anything in particular about that one that's drawn your eye?
Strider is a video game character.
That's right, Strider Hiryu, famous for his Marvel vs. Capcom appearances, which is exactly what I based that answer off of. Good job,
Damn.
Tanner, you sussed it out.
I'm
There's
so
no
goated.
fucking... What?
There's an entire fish archetype, Dylan, with it spelled that way.
no,
We pronounce
no.
it goatee, though.
It's not pronounced... I don't want to go through the phonetics of it. That's so stupid. I hate
Hey,
that.
look, that's a cool looking card.
Yeah,
Looks
they're
like-
pretty sweet. They're all just like celestial astral fish looking
It's like
things.
the fucker from Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm broken on the side.
Oh, like the Absolute from Baldur's Gate. God damn it.
Oh,
There you go.
very funny.
You got it, man. You're one question behind, but you eventually got there.
I don't think I got that, but hey, good on you.
Well, let's see if you guys can get this next one. It's easy as counting 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to be checking out Nekogal number 1, Uka Uka Squared, The Legendary Fisherman 3, and Tricky Spell 4.
I'm gonna go Uka Uka squared.
I'm saying Neko Gal number 1.
You're just saying that because you like cats,
True.
but you'd want that to be real. So maybe you're trying to throw me for a loop here.
Throw me under the bus.
I don't know why I was about to say throw me under the bus. Dude, obviously it's Tricky Spell 4. Why would damn it, that logic doesn't make sense anymore. Never mind. I don't want to justify my answer anymore.
Okay. Are you still picking it?
I'm still picking Tricky Spell 4, but
Okay. That's unfortunate.
God
Say la
damn
vie,
it.
though. Good job, Tanner. You got it correct again.
What?
Uka Uka is what? That's a fucking Crash Bandicoot.
No, Uka is the name of like this bird person from fucking Zelda Twilight Princess.
That's not a fucking cat girl at all. The Pussycat Fairy, shut the fuck up.
That's so
It's also
stupid.
cent, like 1 cent, not number 1.
Yeah, sorry. The fucking website that I got that from, for whatever reason, it can't do number signs, so it made a cent for some reason. They have that capability, but not a fucking pound sign. I don't know what their deal is. But the actual card has the fucking number sign in it.
Very
Huh.
curious.
Yeah, Jackson would have got that otherwise.
Alrighty, next up here, boys. Tanner, you're doing pretty good. Already pulled ahead of Jackson. See if you can maintain that lead. As we look over some familiar sounding cards, let's say. So we are going to be looking over Falling Down, Emissary from the House of Wax, Gravekeeper's Heretic, or Rocky Landing.
I'm gonna go.
I'm doing Emissary from the House of Wax, personally.
Okay.
There's no way.
I'll go Gravekeeper's Heretic.
Dude, and to keep things interesting, I'm gonna pick Rocky Landing.
Alright. Fantastic. Jackson, good job picking House of Wax, standing by
Motherfucker.
your old Reliable, that film that you picked. I think that was like one of your very first films. Unfortunately, it was incorrect though. Good job, Dylan, on Rocky Landing.
Hey, let's go! Got me there for a second. I was so disheartened. That's a cool art though. I like that one. The Emissary of the House of Wax.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of him.
Gravekeeper's Heretic just has ultra powers. I don't know why I said powers. Doesn't matter.
Next up here. I don't exactly know what the theme for this was. I think I was going for like, these would be like not punk rock, like pop punk song titles or some shit. Anyway, your choices here are going to be This Creepy Little Punk, The Black Goat Laughs, Dragon Queen of Tragic Endings, or Downer Evaporation of Dreams.
This is... Man, and...
I'm gonna go with the Black Goat Laughs.
This creepy little punk sounds very strange, so I'm going that one.
My mind was kind of floating towards the Black Goat Laughs, but to keep things interesting, I'm gonna say Downer Evaporation of Dream.
Alright. And Dylan's gonna be the black goat who's laughing all the way to the bank this time around. Congrats again, you got it correct.
I knew I should have stuck to it, but it just wouldn't be a very interesting competition if we all chose the same answers.
You'd also be in last place right now because Jackson's fucking bombing it.
Damn. Oh well, it's the price I'm willing to pay for entertainment.
This creepy little punk is a funny ass name for a card. And it's just some fucking dude in like an old timey western town.
Yeah, it's a reference to the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds anime, the one where they ride on motorcycles.
I never liked that series, to be completely honest. I might be wrong for that, but oh well.
It was overhated. I thought it was pretty enjoyable.
I think I remember you telling me that.
It's a gay old time, you know? It's incredibly dark and dystopian for some reason. It's a fun angle to take a fucking children's card game, but
But is it also the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga?
Yeah.
No, there we go.
I'll tell you one thing those people definitely could have used, which was a hero, much like our next cards here, like Legendary Hero Domain King, Destiny Hero Fearmonger, Masked Hero Darklaw, or Contrast Hero Chaos.
Okay, before anybody else has a chance to steal my answer, I'm gonna, lock in the most suspicious one here and say Destiny Hero Fearmonger.
I was also thinking Destiny Hero Fearmonger.
Damn it.
I don't know. Contrast Hero Chaos, I guess.
Okay. What made you guys immediately drawn to Fearmonger?
It has Destiny in it, and I don't think you'd ever use Destiny in any of your card names because you don't like that game.
Okay. You're right, Dylan. I wouldn't in a card I made up because I don't like that game. And so that's why I didn't do that. The correct answer is Legendary Hero Domain King.
Damn it. My initial reaction was so correct. I just let my overthinking get to me.
I suppose so.
Are the heroes an archetype?
The heroes are an archetype. As I mentioned in the previous one, the hero archetype is by far the largest archetype in the game. So much so that they have a fuckload of sub-archetypes amongst them. All of these, fucking Destiny Hero, Master Hero, those are all sub-archetypes of the grander hero archetype, okay? Contrast Hero is the only one. I don't know why the fuck they called him Contrast Hero, but, whatever.
Yeah, I've got a hero or two in my Yu-Gi-Oh deck somewhere.
Yeah, probably some elemental heroes. Those guys are pretty fun.
Dude, I could go for a delicious lamb hero with tzatziki sauce.
Tanner, that's kind of dumb because you don't spell hero the same way as you do here.
Dude, I can't read.
And you know who else can't read? Dogs. Famously can't read. Which is why we're going to be talking about several dogs here, such as Outstanding Dog Marin, Print Kids Bow Wow Bark, Dog Days, and Where Arf Thou?
Come on,
Oh,
man.
hold on a fucking second here.
It's gotta be Where Arf Thou, no?
I want that to be real now, though.
I think I'm gonna go Outstanding Dog Marin.
Oh, man. Where Arf Thou is so funny. But Prank Kids Bow Wow Bark just sounds retarded. I think I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay, the Prank Kids Bow Wow Bark. Jackson,
Yeah.
where are you falling here?
You know where I stand. Where Arf Thou?
Okay, fantastic. Well, you guys threaded the needle here. You did not get it. Dog Days is the fake card.
There's
Check
no
out Where
way.
Arf Thou.
Where... What the fuck? Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna be honest. We've done this a few times now, and I'm continuously surprised.
Yeah.
I like how Outstanding Dog Marin is just a realistic looking dog.
Yeah.
You know, Yu-Gi-Oh's got a lot of variety in its artwork. It's a game where only Outstanding Dog Marin and Bow Wow Bark can exist simultaneously.
Wait a fucking second. The dog in Where Arf Thou is the fucking Marin. Outstanding Dog Marin. What the fuck?
Believe it or not, Outstanding Dog Marin has a lot of lore behind it. A lot of it's also very tragic.
I can tell considering the fact that in its description it says when it dies, put it back into your deck and shuffle. That's a very, depressing card in my mind.
Yeah, check it out. Not only is Marin in the background there, again, it's picture taken or something, but the card art is also the posters the guy is putting up.
I was looking at that. That's fucking crazy.
It's pretty badass. I'm a big fan. Alrighty, speaking of badass things, like foreign languages and words I am incapable of pronouncing, we are going to be looking at Poisoner de Nouvelles, Madolce Queen Tiara Masu, Gunkin Suship Uniclass Super Dreadnought, and Valmonica Pela Valenciana.
Dude, I wish I could understand, but these are foreign languages. Oh, look, there
These
they are.
are the English versions of them.
That's... The first one isn't French.
It's the English one they did.
Very funny.
I'm saying the first one.
Okay.
Because you're French. Dude, that third option's too long to be real, and I'm pretty sure the tiramisu thing was already used before, and I'm pretty sure that's real.
The last one was Tiramisus.
I can't remember if that card was fake or not, but I'm going with my third answer anyway.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Gunkin Suship Uniclass Super Dreadnought.
Right?
All right. Fantastic. Noted. And check it out, boys. You're never going to believe this, but, after my showing the last time we did one of these, where I was just, I made things a little too obvious, I guess I really redeemed myself. You guys got it incorrect yet again.
Fair enough.
He's popping off.
Look at that sous ship. It looks tasty.
The sous ships are great. They're just fucking battleships made as sushi.
These cards look quite delectable, dude.
I think the same thing when I'm looking at Madolce Queen Tiramisu.
She is included in that statement, so...
Alright, well, one thing that's... Let me start that line over. Guys, do you like frogs?
They're alright.
Frogs are okay.
They're pretty
Fantastic. We're going to talk about some frogs next, such as D3S Frog, Kuro Sage Gamabunta, Ronin Toadin, and 2 toads with 1 sting.
I have to go 2 toads with 1 sting. There's no way.
Alright.
I am gonna say Kuro Sage Gamabunta.
I'm saying Ronin Toadin.
No, that's
What's wrong
too
with
good.
Ronin Toadin?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough. There definitely isn't anything wrong with him, because he is, in fact, a real card, Jackson. Oh my god, you are fucking flubbing today. Jesus, man. Good job, though, Dylan. You got it.
Let's go! The long name was the sellout, even though that was not the case last time.
I assumed you just understood that Gamabunta is the name of the chief frog sage from Naruto.
I've never watched Naruto.
I haven't either.
Oh. You are more into pop culture or something.
Alright, no one else wanting to chime in here whatsoever? Alright, fair enough. Low energy episode, I guess.
What? No.
Alright, for our next ones here, pronouncing foreign words is difficult enough. I don't know where the fuck to begin with most of these. So, good luck just even reading them, I guess. So we've got Void Terrarium, Apocryphort Towers, Predaplant Chlamydia Sundew, and Grand Sulfacord Coolia.
I want to go last for strategic reasons.
Okay.
Dude, there's Jess.
I'm going Predaplant Chlamydia Sodu for no reason.
I
Okay.
was gonna choose that one as well.
Do it, dude. Is that your answer?
Is it because it seems like it has chlamydia in it? Is that why you guys are
Yeah,
drawn?
exactly. That's why.
Okay.
Alright, guys, let me tell you why this is the right answer. Notice that he said these names were incredibly hard to pronounce. However, he had no problem pronouncing that second name, which means that has to be the name he invented because he made it himself, and it was the easiest out of all of these. So therefore, in conclusion even, the answer to this one is Apocryphort Towers.
That's very true, Dylan. It is the one I had the least trouble pronouncing. It's probably because I've heard many people pronounce it before, since it is a real card.
Damn it!
You guys all got it incorrect yet again! It was the Void Terrarium one.
That was my
This
second
is fucked
option.
up.
That's a fucking cool card, though. Look at that, Apocryphort Towers. That's fucking sick.
He used to be meta a long time ago. He was so powerful that we have named a term in the game after him, which is a Towers effect.
Dude, I will pay anybody who gets me Grand Sulfacord Coolia because she looks pretty damn close to Robin. I fucking love that art. Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
She's got like a little mini version of her flying around.
I know, that's so I don't know. Maybe I discovered something about myself today.
Awaken
So
something
this is a
within you.
lizard made out of chlamydia?
I guess so. It's made out of something for sure. Something nefarious.
It's a sundew!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. Fun fact, that Void Terrarium thing, that's just the name of a video game. That's a game you can buy on the Nintendo Switch right there.
Oh, I was gonna ask if that was
Whoa.
from Terraria, but never mind.
No,
I
sir.
figured that the first one could have been like a boss from Terraria and I wasn't paying attention. But, say la vie.
Yeah, it's one of the 3 EXO bosses, I guess.
I wouldn't doubt it, dude. I don't fucking know those fuckers' names. I just know I died to them a billion times.
However, the following, Dylan, are some names you might recognize. Some names that, quite frankly, I'm a little shocked Konami is not getting a hot water over. We are going to be looking over Parlor Dragon Maid, Dragon Tail Pan, Little Bang Bill, or Ill Blood.
Ill blood. I'm going Parlor Dragon Maid.
Okay.
Dude, I think That'd be a little cutie if I ever saw that. You do love your maids. Surely they wouldn't spell blood that. There's no way. But also Little Bang Bill. Wait a second. No, that doesn't. I think it's a red herring. I'm gonna go with Ill Blood.
Okay.
I'm gonna fucking hate myself if my red herring was of my own doing.
I'll go ahead and snatch up that herring and say Little Bang Bill.
All right. Tanner, you're just a big old bear, ain't you? Snapping up that red herring with your big old mouth. Well, congratulations. That wasn't just a fake-ass red herring. It was the real one, and by real, I mean fake one. Congrats. That was the correct answer.
God damn it, dude.
Yay.
I knew it.
He's popping
That's
off?
so... My brain was like, surely... Because, like, I read Bang Boo, and I was like, no, that's not it. That can't possibly be it. And I was so attached to the fact that the Japanese... I mean, I get they're not making the English translations, but surely they weren't going to spell blood that way for cultural reasons. And I'll leave it at that. That's so...
What the fuck does bro mean by that?
Don't worry about it. I knew that Dragon Maid was going to be a cutie, though, so I wanted her to be real. And what do you know? I was right. Look at her. She's so damn cute.
She's very cute. I'm a big fan. Parlor Dragon Maid is best girl amongst the Dragon Maids for sure.
Dude, is she human enough for you to smash?
Are you fucking kidding me? Of course she is. Look at her.
Hell yeah, brother. That's what it's about. Love it.
Also, I didn't even consider that you might get tripped up on Little Bang Bill, thinking I was making a reference to Bang Boos. It was supposed to be Little Bill.
That was my first thought, and then the red herring was the Bang Boo part, so it was a double-edged sword, I guess, as it were.
My brain also jumped to the Bang Boo.
There we go. He doesn't even play the game, and he knows.
Fair enough, guys. Well, that may have felt like a double-edged sword, but how do you think you'd feel about perhaps 1,000-edged sword? Even more, maybe? Such as 1,000 needles, 2,000 needles, 3,000 needles, and million needles.
Where the fuck are the Cactuar, and why are they here? They never had a fucking Final Fantasy crossover. Has Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever had a Final Fantasy crossover?
No.
3,000 needles, locking it in.
I think I'm also gonna lock in 3,000 needles.
Okay.
Can you read them all again? My Discord client has crashed, so I can't
Oh, okay.
look at anything.
Sure thing, Tanner. Your options, very simple here. I'll read them real nice and slow for you. 1,000 needles, 2,000 needles, 3,000 needles, or million needles.
I'm gonna go 2,000 needles.
All right, fantastic. And guys, I gotta say, I'm rather shocked that you just keep fucking getting these wrong. Oh my god. It was million needles. Million needles was the fake answer.
Are these just progressive?
I love 1,000 needles. He looks so cute.
I mean, I think 2,000 needles is also pretty cute, though.
He looks rather ferocious. 1,000 needles looks like an actual little critter. I want to hold him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I guess it would make the most logical sense that 1, 2, and 3,000 needles is a sequential card, and that million needles was in fact the outlier, but you know.
Frankly, I think none of it makes any sense.
That's crazy. I would have never got.
Frankly, I was a little worried you'd all get that one, but joke's on me, I suppose.
You're just getting too good at this, man.
I guess so. Let's see, though, if you guys are able to get these next ones. This is gonna be something you're all familiar with. You know what planets are, right? We've got like 13 of them or some shit. So we are going to be looking over the Tyrant Neptune, Arcana Force 19 the Sun, Celestial Cadet Mercury, or Elemental Hero Terra Firma.
We got another hero in. But is that a red herring? Surely you wouldn't throw another hero in here after having a hero category, unless, however, that's reverse psychology, in which you want me to think it's a red herring.
I say pick it.
I'm not gonna, Jackson. You're here to fuck me in the game so you can win, even though neither of us are winning.
What the fuck are you talking? Do I have a point yet? Even?
Jackson, I will reveal to you, you have a single point thus far.
Let's fucking go.
It's not like the other two have that much either, though. You can, in fact, still tie this, assuming neither of them get any more correct. And you get every question correct from here.
I like my chances, especially now that Tanner's playing Wordle and he's, splitting his mental faculties between two tasks here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Gonna go the Tyrant Neptune.
I'm going for the obvious one of Elemental Hero Terra Firma.
That is the only one that doesn't Match the vibe. Maybe I will take Jackson's red herring. He wouldn't possibly fuck himself over, would he? To take me down with him. Unless that's his ploy, in which case you guys are both on this together and it's a double red herring. I'm gonna go with Elemental Hero Terra Firma, though.
Alright, well great, you just went with the incorrect answer, Dylan, I'm sorry. As did Tanner, unfortunately you guys did... That's right, Celestial Cadet Mercury was in fact the fake one. It was based off of the Sailor Scouts.
Dude,
Damn,
I was
thinking of that one.
I was so confident Celestial Cadet Mercury was the most real one out of all of them. That's so sad.
When I read Celestial Cadet Mercury, I thought it was a reference to Sailor Moon, but like I thought that they do fucking references all the time, so I assume it was just going to be some like Sailor Moon-esque character.
Yeah.
Damn, the other two had more of an idea than I did.
I suppose so.
Oh well.
Dude, look at Neptune Tyrant's hip to waist ratio. That shit's got me fucking heated right now.
He would be so
Damn,
easy
boy.
to lop in half.
He's thick, boy!
I just want to grab him by those hips and fucking take him to Pound Town.
I'd much rather take him to Flavor Town.
Are you guys talking about Terra Firma?
Oh, there he is. Yeah,
No.
no.
Yes.
We're talking about Neptune Tyrant.
Oh, gotcha. He's a pretty cool guy. He's fucking perma-banned. He's never coming back to the game.
Dude, that's not what we were saying about him, but I like that that is your imagined reality of what we were talking about.
I'm just talking about in general. I'm just dropping some sick Yu-Gi-Oh lore on you.
Oh, wait. Oh, that card does sound broken as hell. Jesus.
He's more broken than you could possibly imagine, too. Whatever you're picturing in your head he can do, it's so much fucking worse.
Oh, awesome. I love that for him, I guess.
Are there enough banned cards that they could hypothetically do special, like, banned cards only tournaments?
Yes.
Ooh,
You could easily do that.
that
Do you
sounds
think
like
that
fun.
would be funny enough to be worth doing?
YouTubers have done that exact video idea before where they do band-only tournaments.
That
Holy
is
shit.
The general conceit of it is that none of the decks they're able to produce are actually that good because pretty much all the banned cards need to be like exploiting other things that are not banned in order to like really do crazy shit.
Right.
Huh. It was worth a shot.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. But guys, are you ready to go Goblin mode? Guys, we're gonna be talking about Blindly Loyal Goblin, Goblin Bankers Gone Bonkers, Goblinberg, or Goblin's Prized Pet Gobbo.
Dude, I love goblins! Holy smokes! Jackson, you like goblins? Which one of these is the right answer?
Goblin. Oh, okay. I thought you said Goblinberg, as in like a very common ending point for Jewish last names. I was like, there's no way it's that, but no, it's like it's a cheese pun. Okay, that's slightly more believable.
No, dude, Goblinberg is the name of that town that the one goblin people live in Trolls.
Guys, I'm the fucking goblin expert. If I get this one wrong, I'm literally killing myself. This is obviously Goblin's prized pet, Gobbo.
I agree.
Because it's about... The Goblinberg would be really funny. I assume that's actually the fake one, but the Goblin's prized pet is the only one that's not specifically a goblin. It's just pet, not the goblin.
But it is still goblin themed. He didn't say that it was a goblin. He just said it was goblin. I would love to take you up on your proposition, but I'm gonna have to go against the goblin expert here and say that it is in fact Goblin Bikers Gone Bonkers, just because that sounds like a tongue twister and it sounds fun.
Fantastic. Well, Jackson, in order to get the correct answer here, I was expecting you to know that the Gobbos are the name of the fuzzy little brown guys from Croc, but that's all right, too. You still got it at the end of the day.
Dude, I did know that, and that's why I chose it.
Nice.
Dude, I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time.
Radical.
Right?
Well, guys, that brings us to our final question here. The final four. This one is probably, as I've done in these previous ones, I'm going to be not telling you what it is that binds these four together. But if you're able to guess it, you will get a bonus point. This is probably the easiest one of these I've done thus far. So, be ready to
Donald
answer
Trump.
as soon as you know it.
That's cheating, Tanner. You have to wait. Be patient.
I didn't even hear what he said, so I'm going to immediately disqualify him.
Unfortunate. He was in the lead anyway. He doesn't need it.
True. Alrighty, boys, your cards here are going to be Edge Imp Tomahawk, Mushroom Man number 2, Doodlebook and Cornzacotl Spit.
Vegetables?
No, it's not it.
Damn it. Wait, am I...
You guys are racking your brains on this one.
Have you not figured out that this is the hardest challenge you've made yet?
I guess not, you know? I didn't quite realize that going into it.
Have you considered I is kind of stupid? Are they song references?
I'm going Cornzacotl Spit, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Okay.
Oh, did we only get one guess? Or are we allowed to just keep going until we figure out the theme?
One guess is probably the fairest way of doing it.
I wasted mine. I
Plants
squandered
vs. Zombies?
No, it's not it either, Tanner.
That's a solid guess, actually.
It is a good guess. Jackson, you're the only one who has not guessed yet. You got any ideas there?
No.
Okay.
For the fake card, I'm gonna go Doodlebook.
Alright. Dylan, what's your fake card?
Surely Mushroom Man number 2 isn't real. You already had a number section in this. There's no way you're gonna have another card with a number on it.
That's true. There's no way I would do that. Jackson, I'm gonna let you know right now. This extra point matters a lot. If you know it, that is going to be fucking crazy. You got any guesses for me?
Mario themed. I don't fucking know.
Bummer. Would you guys like to look at the last word in each of those?
Tomahawk Man, oh, god damn it. Fuck you.
What is it?
It's Hawk Tua.
Yeah!
You're such a stupid bitch. I hate you.
What?
Never would have guessed that.
I don't get... What?
You gotta spit on that thing, Dylan. Anyway, the correct
you said look
answer...
at the last word. Two is a number, you dumb fuck.
Oh, well, good job to Jackson. It was, in fact, Cornzacotl Spit. And so, guys, that brings us to our final points here. Now, Jackson, it would have been crazy if you knew that one, because you are sitting at a meager 3 points. However, Dylan and Tanner tied at 4 points. Look at that. If only you got that last one, you would have been crazy. The 3-way tie, that would have been nuts.
This was really anybody's game.
Yeah,
I tied with Tanner? How?
You did. You both got 4
Dude.
points.
We're
Do
correct.
you have a 50-50 tiebreaker round?
Golly.
You think you would at this point?
I don't, but let me
This is
see
like
here
the
real
third
quick.
time this has happened, dude.
Well, the last time this happened was when we got a 3-way tie, and
And that's just unacceptable.
yeah, a 3-way is unacceptable. All right, let's do this, I guess. I want you to peruse over Masked Hero Darklaw.
Okay.
Now, for the audience, Master of Darklaw, his effect reads, must be special summoned by mask change. Any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. Once per turn, if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, except during the draw phase or the damage step, you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. My question to you two, is this card competitively viable?
Oh.
Ooh, that's a toughie. Because obviously, banishing cards is desirable, but you're also not drawing cards very often, which means drawing cards is difficult, which means adding a penalty to that is even better. But killing a monster isn't difficult. Ooh, oh man, I'm real 50-50 on this one. I'm gonna say it's not competitively viable.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
I really desperately wanted to say this card was competitively viable.
Alright, so that's what you're saying then, Dylan?
Oh, well, yeah, it wouldn't be a very, very interesting tiebreaker if we chose the same answer.
True. Do you have much reasoning for your one, though?
Well, the fact that it can be... I guess I don't know what mask change is, but it sounds like just like
you can ignore
a
that
spell or
part. Just
trap.
assume you can summon this guy pretty easily.
Yeah, he could be special summoned with just a single card. I mean, he is a 6-star, so that means he needs at least 2 tribute monsters if that were not the case. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. That's basically saving you a step. because normally you just need a card to burn to do that kind of thing. And banishing is obviously stronger than if your opponent doesn't have access to their graveyard. In most cases, that's very handy. And even if it is once per turn, if your opponent gets cards in their hand outside of the draw and damage step, I still think that's valuable, because even if they don't do it, it's like still a deterrent. And then, like, this card's all just about banishing. Banishing completely removes it outside. I don't know if there are cards that bring cards back from being banished. But, like, I think one of the strongest things in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the ability to draw cards. And if you're limiting that, or you're making them think about having to do that with this card out, obviously this card's not protected. It could very easily get destroyed. But outside of that, I think controlling somebody's, like, draw intake and, like, graveyard and all that kinds of stuff is very powerful. So yeah, that's why I think it's competitively viable.
Fantastic. That's some good analysis on both of your guys' parts. So, let's talk about Masked Hero Dark Law real quick. So, here's the thing about fucking banishing, alright? This is what we call a macrocosmos effect. So, just completely, it's not even like, oh, your cards like go to the graveyard and then they get banished or anything like that. It's just full stop. Cards no longer go to the graveyard. They just get banished. That's fucking nuts. Because, as you guys may know, the graveyard is basically a second hand in Yu-Gi-Oh! We love our cards going to the graveyard. They can proc so many effects just by being in that place. And so, by a card just completely negating that entire area, that's fucking bonkers and can just hose a lot of decks. Now, draw power is not exactly something that we get a lot, so the fucking draw effect there that he also has is kind of just like a nice little cherry on top to his main shit he has going on. Yeah. But it's definitely a pretty fucking strong effect. And the fact that this guy's just like in the extra deck as well, so you can just pop him out whenever you can. It's not like something you need, oh, I hope I draw my trap card that negates all their graveyard shit. It's pretty fucking bonkers. The thing is, though, heroes aren't very good. Historically, they've been okay here and there, you know? They've won some matches, but, like, especially in current day Yu-Gi-Oh!, heroes just... Unfortunately, a macrocosmos in your pocket just isn't enough nowadays, so Tanner is correct. This card just... It ain't cutting it, you know? Maybe if heroes were a bit better, we'd be talking a little different, singing a different tune, but as of right now, they just ain't it, my man. Which means Tanner gets the bonus point, so you are today's big winner. Congratulations.
Dude, I never thought this day would come. I finally have won a Yu-Gi-Oh! Quiz.
We're also proud of you.
I'm especially proud of you. In order to get Jackson to like really try for these things, I had to promise him that I'd give him my car if he won 4 of these in a row. Thank fucking God that didn't happen.
I don't know why he'd need your car. He's already got, you know, both of his dream vehicles.
He said he'd just scrap it in front of me.
Yeah, I just fucking drive it into a ditch and then leave it there.
That's so awful, dude. Why would you do that?
He's cruel.
True.
He's gonna use it to run over protesters.
Yeah.
I mean, never mind. I don't want to.
Fair enough. Well, there we go, guys. That was another Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing in the bag. I think that was our lowest scoring one yet, which is very fun.
Yeah, well,
you
know.
really upped your game since last time,
I got
dude.
my game on.
Yeah, there was quite a handful. I mean, like I said before, from our, like, suggestions in prior competitions, I think, you definitely took some notes, unfortunately, for us, yeah. But, you know.
I'm steadily improving. I'm a learning computer, as it were. Well, guys, now that we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Done, why don't we Yu-Gi-Go on over to our other segment of the show, Guapish at the Movies!
Guapish at the Movies!
川田さんのことが本当に好きだったんだと思う。でなきゃ、その写真みたいに笑えないよ。
Jackson, my main man, what did we watch this week?
We watched the Patreon pick this week, which was, of course, the 2002 film Ballistic, Ecks vs. Sever, as requested by Dread Pirate 46. And this, of course, is the movie about Ballistic, Ecks versus Sever. And there's like a bunch of explosions now. That's basically it. Tanner, what's your fun fact?
Fun fact, the first draft of this script was written in the 80s, and then it It just kind of languished in production hell until someone finally decided to make it in the early 2000s.
Oh my gosh. That kind of explains a lot.
Yeah.
Alright, rankings. Speaking of explaining a lot. Alright, I guess I'll kick us off. I gave Ballistic Ecks vs. Sever a B- personally.
I'm pretty far down below you. I'm at a D+ right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm also at a D+.
Huh.
That's crazy. I give this one an 8 out of 10.
What'd you give it in letter ranks?
I guess that would probably average out to somewhere like a B+ or so.
Why'd you give it a number rating?
You know, I just wanted to be a little quirky this time around. Honestly, I'm surprised that Jackson Tanner didn't like it all that much. I'm rather surprised. You know, for its time, Ecks vs. Sever was pretty groundbreaking. Its visuals are what make it really stand out the most. It's easily one of the most graphically impressive games for the GBA, and while it may not boast the craziest story or anything, the gameplay is able to consistently run at a solid 30 FPS, despite the game pushing the hardware to its limits.
What's your actual rating of this movie?
Movie.
I'll give it a D.
There we go.
Fair enough. Yeah, this movie is boring. The action scenes aren't terrible for what it is, but like they're not terrible, but also like as long as you're able to turn your brain off and believe that cars explode like that.
They feel like a little too choreographed a lot of the times. Like
I was gonna say, some of them, like the choreography of the like fights and stuff seem interesting at times, but like also the situations around all of these scenarios is just so fucking stupid that, you know, any amount of like interest I had in this, what's going on, is just immediately evaporating. Like the first scene where they're just trying to kill her in the middle of broad daylight in the city. That shit is baffling. It's so crazy.
Or like the last big fight where like at some point they get a chain and they just keep whacking the chain at like pipes or whatever. Like they're not even trying to hit the other guy. They're just like, check it out, I have a chain.
Yeah, I was like, I was fading in and out of consciousness watching this one, to be honest. Also, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining it. I feel like Antonio Banderas, the main guy, I feel like his accent was kind of on and off throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he was trying to do an American accent and sometimes he just said fuck it and had his normal accent.
Personally, I just didn't like Lucy Liu's expression throughout it. She just looked like she didn't want to be there at all.
She didn't have any expression. She was like a fucking robot the entire time.
Exactly, yeah.
Dude, she's basically salt. She's not supposed to feel emotions. She's just supposed to be a hyper killing machine.
Her performance is just so uninspired feeling. Even like her actual like fighting scenes, I didn't really feel like that crazy about. Granted, I think she was like the redeeming force of this movie for me because I just like looking at her because she's hot. But other than, you know,
Base!
she was pretty whatever.
Is Lucy Liu a porn actress?
No.
I always assume she is because she has a very porn actress name.
What the
Honestly, I'm just going to throw this out there. I know this is going to be a sin to my boy Fry from Futurama, but I just don't really see it personally. I'm not that into her.
I think she's a cutie patootie.
Okay.
Tweets
I
around.
think she's pretty hot.
So Dylan, why did you like this movie?
Dude, that's a great question. The audience didn't hear it back at home. There was a large bout of silence there that got truncated out because that's how we do things here. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't justify it. Me and
Dylan
Jackson
likes explosions.
That's actually what was like really funny is me and Jackson were talking about like how many, like this was like Michael Bay level of explosions, and we said at some point towards the end of the movie, it's like it'd be like this movie can't go 10 minutes without explosions. And then of course I just decided to test that theory, and in fact it did last 9.5 minutes before another explosion happened, and then a sequence of like 10 to 15 more explosions happened after that. So if I can credit this movie with one thing, their pyrotechnics team was pretty on point. I think the explosions are pretty kick-ass, but it's hard to fuck up explosions because if you do, somebody's dying, I think.
Dylan fucking loves Michael Bay.
I don't think I could tell you a Michael Bay movie off the top of my head if paid me.
That's crazy.
All of the Transformers films.
He made Transformers? That's crazy.
Christ.
Guys, you assume that I pay attention to who directs and, produce. I think throughout my history of movie watching, The only person I could probably effectively tell you that I know, like, directed and produced a movie is James Cameron of Avatar. That's about it.
That's not the pick I was expecting you to say.
Yeah, that's even sadder, frankly.
What movie did you guys think I was gonna say? And by who?
I don't know, I was expecting, like, Tarantino at the very least.
No, you guys always say something about a Quentin Tarantino movie, and I have no clue. My eyes glaze over when you guys start talking about that shit. I have no clue what the fuck you're talking about.
He doesn't know who Quentin Tarantino is.
You guys always point him out in movie reviews, like, I don't like his performance in this movie, because I know he's, like, one of the producers that likes to be in his own movies or whatever. You guys always,
he's the fucking director.
Whatever. You guys always point him out, and then I have no clue who you're talking about, so... I don't even know what the guy looks like, to be completely honest.
Christ.
Dude, we've made it, like, a couple hundred movies into this. Aren't you guys proud of me?
No.
God damn it. Fuck you, Jackson. What about you guys?
One day we'll be
of me?
proud of you.
God damn it. Well, good thing I don't care. Man, I hate for this to be another one of those things, like, maybe I should just lower my ranking, because I wasn't thinking at all. I was laughing at the movie, not with the movie. I was laughing at the movie. Very silly concepts to me.
Like what?
I like how casually the kid accepted kidnapping.
I did think that was very funny. The kid did not care.
Bro just fucking went with it.
He was super, like, bro, I was joking with Jackson. I was like, this kid's obviously had kidnapping happen on a regular basis for him. He just does not care. Yeah, there's a bunch of plot conveniences, I suppose. So there's also that, you know, people missing their shots only when it's important to the plot. And then if it's the heroes, it's, you know, 90% missing on the heroes.
The plot kind of revolved around the MacGuffin of this tiny nanobot that could inject a heart-stopping serum into you, right?
Yeah.
I completely forgot that was the point of the plot.
What is the point of that robot? Like, if you already have to have it injected or shot into you, what is the point of having the robot do the killing when you already have to be in a position where you could just inject or actually shoot them?
So they can do a cool 3D animation effect when the guy dies.
It was not a cool 3D animation effect. I think it can be assumed that if we were to take it seriously, they find a way to secretly introduce it into somebody's body and then just kill. I think it was supposed to be like implemented into medicines or something like that, because I'm pretty sure.
But the only way we ever see it used is via like a syringe or a bullet.
That is true. I don't know, dude. I'm pretty sure the evil guy was like the head of like a pharmaceutical company or something stupid like that. So,
Who
assuming
cares? This movie sucks.
I like the explosions.
It's not
cool.
like bad, but it's just like really boring, and I don't care.
It's crazy. Honestly, I was just trying to think of the summary. I was being candid. I don't remember fucking anything that happened in this
film
movie.
is incredibly forgettable.
It went in my brain and out it immediately once I finished watching. Is so fucking generic.
Damn. Well, it happened again. It happened.
I guess so. Are you lowering your rank, Dylan?
I'll be a little more sensical. Are we locking in? Is that
I think we're done talking about this one. I'm gonna be sticking with my D+, which is meh.
Same.
I'm gonna go with my D.
I'll give it a C-.
Wowza.
And it lands at a D+ overall. How exciting.
Yay.
Fantastic.
Well, our next movie we watched was actually a random surprise one we did, where Tanner wanted us to watch this one in theaters, so he paid for us all to go out to it, that being the 2025 film 28 Years Later. Tanner, do you want to do the synopsis of this and your pick, or do you want to give this one to Dylan to describe?
Dude, I would absolutely love to do the synopsis of both.
Then go for it.
So 28 Years Later is about 28 years after the rage virus. We are told through some text on the screen that 28 weeks later didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so the virus is all only in Britain again, and the entire world decided, fuck them, I guess. And so we're introduced to this group of survivors who are on a tiny island off the mainland, and they send out scouts and / hunters to, I guess... they're not really bringing back food, or are they just going to the mainland to kill infected?
No, they talked about how they go there to get lumber and stuff like that.
To me, that felt like they were saying they had like lumber crews who did that.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe they're just like looking for supplies or something along those lines.
Yeah, when they were in that building, they were there for the purpose of scavenging. So yeah, I assume they're there to scavenge, kill infected that are close to things, get locations of like alpha villages, and get raw material or like hunt.
Anyway, the point of this movie is it's basically a coming-of-age film for our young lad Spike. He is 12 years old. His dad takes him out on his first trip to the mainland. Stuff seems fucky-wucky. They have a sick mother, and the kid finds out there is a doctor on the mainland, and he takes him to the doctor, and shenanigans ensue. And then the doctor kills his mom almost immediately upon meeting him. The end. Also, yeah, and it ends with like the kid is no longer, he's just out there in the wild now, I guess.
With a bunch of like blonde Europeans.
Yeah, a bunch of dang hooligans.
Yeah, a bunch of weirdos in tracksuits. Fun fact. So, Danny Boyle wanted to say this film was filmed on iPhone. And so they use this just insane rig of like dozens of iPhone 15s all strapped together on a gimbal, and that's how they shot this thing.
I thought, no, they had two rigs. They had one where it's like a really fancy like lens setup and all this shit for like one iPhone, but then they had all those shots where they're like, you'd see a zombie get headshot, for example, and then
the Call of Duty kill cams.
Yeah, then they do like a surround shot of it where it like switches the angle, and yeah, that's where they have like 15 iPhones in a semicircle, and they just like cuts between all the perspectives, which is interesting. I saw that both of their setups, they're both crazy. I think it's disingenuous to say this movie was shot on iPhone, which it was, but also it was based on like probably tens of thousands of dollars of lenses and all this sorts of fancy equipment.
Right. Guys, I need to real quick just make sure I'm not insane. This movie was bad, right?
Oh, thank God.
Oh,
Tanner, what are you ranking it?
we were scared.
I have a larger than usual range right now. I'm in between a C- and a D.
Interesting. Dylan, what about you?
I gave it a B-.
Okay. Jackson?
I'm also sitting at a B- personally.
I'm currently sitting at a B or B-. So Tanner, this is just obviously better than the other two films. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, I thought this was terrible.
I thought this was better than the second one, but worse than the first one.
I mean, it's easily better than the second one. Let's not mince words here.
I guess I genuinely need to know. So, like, the biggest problems I had with it was a lot of the editing decisions, the cutting in footage from other movies, and the weird cutting to like weird night vision scenes, and the only way I can describe it, the off-tempo way they would cut between people in conversations and all this weird shit they were doing. And then also the music was fucking terrible. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. The comedic moments that felt so out of place and inappropriate for whatever we were trying to do. Like, all of this stuff took me so far out of the movie that I was literally sitting there from the opening scene. I was like, okay, this doesn't feel right. Something is wrong here. And the entire movie, I was just like, I wish they would stop filming it like this. I wish they would stop doing the editing like this. I wish they would stop using this kind of music in doing this. Like, to me, none of it gelled in a way that created a cohesive, like, anything. It felt like he was trying to do like an art house film and was just throwing shit at the wall to try and make it feel interesting, and none of it worked for me.
I absolutely agree with you on the schizophrenic editing. It's fucking horrendous. I hated it. But they did get their shit together. That stuff only really lasted for like the first third of the film, and then they're like, oh, hang on, we should make this film not terrible. And so they just edited it pretty normally after that point.
I don't know, man. It stood out to me throughout.
It was certainly very bad at the first third. Like, holy fuck. But I agree with Nico. In the last like 2/3, they definitely toned it down a bit. It's still not like normal movie tier at all. They do a lot of just like random like cuts in between, like a close up for no fucking reason all the time. It's still very strangely shot, but it definitely gets better. It's got a lot more like long panning sections where you're kind of taking in the environment, which I feel works a lot better for the setting they're in. But it certainly isn't a great looking movie in the end.
No. Also, like the way they use the poem from the trailer, you know, one of the greatest trailers I've ever seen, it didn't work. It didn't fit the scene in any way. It wasn't blended into the soundscape in a way that worked at all. It just seemed insane. And there are two examples I can specifically think of that were just really weird decisions on how to do a thing. You know, one was the gas station where they drop to the ground and it explodes.
They should have died.
But only from like
Oh,
the middle
100%.
what the fuck was that? That doesn't make any sense. And then fucking an infected giving birth to a non-infected baby. And then Dr. Kirsten explains it, and he's just like, the magic of the placenta. I'm like, what?
Definitely not how that works.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, diseases get passed on to children all the fucking time. It's strange that this wouldn't be a case of that.
Yeah, it's like I'm willing to accept that, you know, the infecteds have evolved because they had to in order to stay alive for 28 years. So, you know, like they can eat now, which is something they don't do. But like, there is one of the reasons you would have a child protagonist in a world like this is so that you can explain the world to your audience in a natural way. And they do very little of that, frankly. Like when the father is taking the kid out, he's instructing him on what to do, but he's not really explaining what anything is or why it is the way it is, or even going so far as to say, oh, we don't know why that's like that. And so there's so many gaps that we, the audience, are having to fill in on how this world even functions. And if I was having a better time watching this movie, I'd be willing to fill in those gaps. But since I wasn't, it just falls apart even more for me.
I think the reason they were doing that is because they're trying to get less in like the perspective of the kid. And it didn't work. Let me preface that. A lot of the imagery in the first third of it was trying to make us imply that the island and the survivors were kind of like a cult, or maybe not like a cult, but, you know, they had a lot of comparisons to, like, you know, raising these kids on violence, like the Nazi youth and things like that. They're very unsubtle about it. Yeah. They didn't let us draw our own conclusions. They were like, this is what's fucking happening with these people. And like, okay, whatever, sure. Show, don't tell.
Yeah, I just think the
shit.
audience is stupid is what that felt like.
But I assume the idea is because they're trying to make it seem like this is a much more nefarious village than it actually is. We don't see them do anything that bad. I feel like they're totally benign for the most part. But they have like this big story that they're withholding from us about like the dad withholding information from the son. Like, why? There's nothing that he has not told him is like a mystery or is gonna fucking hold him back. There's like no big secrets that are revealed, so it all just seems fucking pointless. Just for like them to jack themselves off about like comparisons to the Nazi youth or some dumb shit. It's stupid as hell.
Yeah. Even like the big secret is like Dr. Kirsten, but then when the dad does tell him about, or no, when the fucking uncle or whatever does tell him about it, it's like, that doesn't seem like that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not a fucking big deal at all. They're just dumb. It's like it makes no sense for them to hold that back. If anything, just tell the kid the guy's crazy and just not even give him hope. Like, I don't know why the fuck he's trying to hide it from a curious young child in the first place.
Yeah.
Speaking of the kid, though, I thought he was a great actor. He did a good job. You know, we see a lot of terrible fucking child actors in these films. We might talk about them later in this episode, but in this film, he did a good job.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Spike was the standout part of this movie. I think he gave a great performance, and I do think his basic character arc of like having to sort of become a man before he's ready for it was pretty compelling.
I think the big issue is that he's just fucking retarded. It's so hard for me to like believe the kid that was just scared shitless and like was like not like begging to go home, but like he was like desperate to want to go home. Given he was chased down by a fucking alpha and almost killed like 2 separate times, being rushed down and fucking up and realizing that he isn't prepared for this. Like, they set him up as like this, you know, he's got some confidence, but also he's not at the level he needs to be to survive out there. And then guess what he does? He takes his fucking disabled mom on like a multi-day journey to go see some guy that he was told is fucking crazy. I get it. He loves his mom. He wants to find hope for her. But it is just such an insanely stupid thing to do. And granted, he's a 12-year-old child, so maybe they can reason it behind that, but it's still so fucking dumb. And also, before I lose my tangent here, it's so interesting to me, too, that they have that random moment where the mom protects him in his sleep.
My God.
And it looks like she's like having an out-of-body moment or something where she kills that guy. And then she just fucking dies. She just gets killed. And like it doesn't mean anything. So strange. Why'd they do? What the fuck was the point of that scene?
Another thing with that was the editing on it. Like, why would you do it where so they have like the bag and you don't see it's her, and then he wakes up and he sees the body, and then immediately reveals that it was
10 seconds
the mom.
later, it's revealed it was her. I don't know what the deal with that was.
They do it so often. They cannot for a second stop just immediately telling us what's going on. Like it's like the first third of the movie too, where there's constantly showing the fucking flashes of the like the red night imagery, and it's like, we don't need to know this shit. Stop fucking telling us.
And I question for you, for you guys in your audience, were there many reactions of like shock or fear, like given this is like ostensibly a horror movie?
The only reactions I really heard were people laughing when the funny Swedish guy.
They were laughing when the credits rolled, and they were like, "Oh, that's the movie, I guess."
Yeah, this movie has very serious tonal issues, and
it's
I don't know if the problem is I went into it expecting a serious movie that takes itself seriously, because that is not what we got.
Honestly, it felt like kind of a throwback to the first movie where there's that random half an hour where nothing happens and they're all just like frolicking in flower fields or some shit when the fucking European guy comes around, and it's just like funny, silly haha moments until he dies. So strange.
Yeah. Also, like, I know, again, this is a nitpick, and usually I let nitpicks go, but I didn't really like this movie, so I'm going to nitpick anyway. He says he joined the Navy, but he has a NATO patch on him, which doesn't make any sense.
It's impossible to say. I simply don't know on that front.
Let me give one more positive. The thing is, I feel like there was a lot of missed potential here. Like, I feel like you could re-edit this movie into something good, because there are a lot of interesting concepts and really neat visuals here. It's just a lot of the way they decide to show that off just didn't work for me. And like personally, I thought the kill cams were insane. I thought it was absurd.
I was
they were
so
doing
scared
that.
going into this review. You're gonna be like, guys, what do you mean? Those kill cams were sick. I was a big fan of them, but no, they're just stupid.
No, dude, they're stupid. I was like mouth agape every time they happened.
I think I literally had a moment where I was mouth agape and I looked over at Nico with my mouth open as it was happening, because it's just, they do it so often too. There's like one of the earliest kills too, where like you can like clearly see the fucking zombie turns into like it's a CG model, and it just looks terrible as well.
Yeah, they often, it's really fake looking blood. It's and then I see a lot of people really complaining about the very, very ending with the goofy like tracksuit people, which totally fair. I didn't like the ending before that with Dr. Kirsten and whatever, just because like it's literally like they show up, she gets diagnosed with cancer, and then they immediately kill her. It's like no time passes at all. We don't like. In my mind, I was like, oh, okay, they're like trying to explore the theme of like being able to accept death or whatever. And then they tranquilize him and then just fucking kill her.
And
so
then
like
he's
they take
so
away
fucking chill with it. He's so fucking chill with it. What?
It's And does he even cry?
I think he does. I don't remember entirely.
I don't have a distinct image of it happening. It's just like you needed to let that kind of stuff breathe, and like don't tranquilize him. Like if you're trying to say like, oh, Western culture is afraid of death, which we are, and you want to kind of send a message about maturely being to accept the death of your loved ones. Let the kid keep his agency, you know?
I personally don't have that much of a problem of her, like, dying so quickly. Presumably, she's probably like, well, you know, my mind's going. He's just going to keep trying to protect me as long as he can. That's just going to fucking get him killed. Which, like, you know, so will an infinite baby around a bunch of monsters that are attracted to sound, but whatever. But, yeah, presumably she just wants to... Yeah, she knows that things are coming to an end very soon, so she just wants to get it over with here.
I recognize her perspective. It's just so hard for me to understand how the kid's just so cool with this happening.
That is a big issue, though.
Yeah. Also, fucking, like, she had what she was saying there, where she was like, oh, you know, I thought it was cancer and I didn't want to tell you or whatever. Like, what? Like, they heavily implied that she knew this was the exact problem and that this is how going to the doctor would turn out, which is... I don't know, man. I've never been this disappointed by a movie in my life.
We were all so scared you were going to be so fucking high on this movie. Because I've watched a decent amount of reviews, and it seems like it's just the two extremes. There's one half of people that think this movie's fucking peak, and it's amazing, and they love everything about it. And then there's another half, which is all of us, where like, this shit's kind of ass. What the fuck are they talking about? Well, hang on now.
3 of us gave it like B minuses. We're like, it's fine.
I'm lowering my rank. I'm definitely,
Yeah. Dude, you know what movie this makes me think of the most? The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in terms of like why I think those are both bad, but in terms of like the reaction to them, where critics fucking loved both of those movies, and then they seem to be super contentious amongst audiences. Dylan, did you have many thoughts about the movie?
I mean, you guys pretty much said everything I was thinking. I definitely walked... I will say, I was telling Nico and Jackson this when we were walking out of the theater. There's... And you kind of justified it and protected it earlier. I'm not gonna really allow that to slip. I don't really like it when they introduce evolutionary viruses, I guess. I get that viruses change all the time, but when you're trying to force gigantism and also... an evolved virus at the same time, that feels too forced. I already think that an evolving virus is forced, but then you also want to say these people are also just giant, presumably because they're, like, in Scotland or, you know, of the Norse, like, area or heritage. So, like, of course there's big guys running around. I have no idea
what the fuck you're
talking about.
They're
not really giants,
right now,
Dylan. They're just more muscular. They said it's like steroids.
No, they're...
Yeah, and they said it was because of the virus.
I don't know. I don't like that. I've never really liked that trope in these kinds of... Regardless of whether it's zombies or robots or whatever the fuck.
What?
Don't worry about it. Anyway, but I definitely think... This is me rewriting the story, so bear with me here. I definitely think this movie would have been better if... One, they didn't have sequel bait. Let's just put that out there. And then also, I think it would have been better if on the outing, the dad dies and the kid's unable to get back to the island and he's forced to survive out amongst the zombies. Because I think that would have been a much more, like, compelling story. And then we get back to the village to find that maybe the mom is recovering and, like, maybe the dad was, like, you know, making her sick or something. And... I
do kind of agree that would make more sense if the... dad died on the first outing, if for no other reason than they take him out of the movie after their trip anyway.
Well, because this movie's so schizophrenic about its plot. It can't make up its mind, both in, like you guys were talking about, with the tone and, like, what it's trying to do, because it almost feels like there's no consequences for anything anybody does. There's definitely a lot of opportunities where people should have just died. Obviously, B characters are gonna die. But it's like Jackson said before, it's very unbelievable that this kid, who's 12 years old, who couldn't hit shit while running away from zombies, thinks, like... It's a huge suspension of disbelief to believe that this kid, after his first outing, is going to take a sick mom, who doesn't know what's going on half the time, not an exaggeration, half the time, and is going to take her to some doctor that he said is a bad person. Also... from the story we heard about the doctor, he's like, oh, he waved at us while throwing bodies onto a fire, so we just decided to avoid him because he seemed creepy. That just seems illogical to me. Maybe I'm not thinking about it too much. I think I think their explanation for avoiding the doctor was very strange, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it was.
And then, yeah, the whole deal with, like, the infected giving birth to the baby and it's not infected. I was, like, waiting for, like, the mom to get infected by the baby because they were wrong. But then I kind of had a lingering thought of, like, how does that make sense if the baby's not infected? Because I'm pretty sure whatever the mom consumes or, like, literally any of the nutrients flowing through her body is distributed
There's
to the
also
baby.
a lot
But
of
anyway,
blood
we've already
and
covered
shit
that as
going on
well.
in childbirth, so like the baby or like even his mom didn't get any of that shit all on him that entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, the fact that nobody got infected on that train scene is fucking wild to me.
And I guess childbirth just causes an infected person to stop mindlessly attacking people around
Yeah,
her.
like, what? Is it, like, they were, like, trying to be like, oh, there's some...
They had a moment.
Again, to go with tropes. That I hate. Because, like, oh, this is a very human moment. For this one instance, there is, like, a bit of humanity left in this person that this mom somehow connects to. Anyway, what were you gonna say something, Jackson?
I was gonna say the first couple movies try to paint it as super fucking easy to get infected, and I don't know, I just kind of expected them to play with that a bit more this one, but they really didn't. The only time that was ever really a threat was when he shot the fucking not Benedict Cumberbatch, you know, the fucking British guy from the first one, zombie, and he splashes blood on the mom. That was like the only time I'd ever happened. I just thought that was strange. It was a very minor thing, though.
And that, quite frankly, was the least likely of times for blood to splash on somebody. That zombie was a decent distance away. If anything, a scene that comes to mind is when the dad and the son are in the house and they're marching up the stairs and he fucking shoots that zombie and it flops towards him. That was a prime candidate for, you know, transfer of disease, but...
Dude, the scene that made me think of that exact thing was when Spike and the doctor are in that hole in the bottom with Samson attacking them from above, and we've seen in the first two that the zombies will vomit blood as a way of infecting people far away from them, and I guess they don't do that anymore?
I forgot. The fucking intro scene. I feel like the intro scene of the first two are very strong. I think they do a good job of just painting a picture of the bleakness of the scenario. I think the intro scene of this fucking one kind of sucked ass, I'm going to be completely honest.
It
I
wasn't
think it's
great.
Held back a lot by the editing, but also, like, it just felt fucking stupid and dumb.
It felt kind of cliche as well. I wasn't a huge fan of it. Well, okay, so, like, the zombies, like, burst into the room and, like, murdering the children. That was fine. It was when he got into the church and his dad or whatever the fuck, the pastor was just like, fucking come to me, zombies, eat me. That shit was really dumb.
I didn't get that. Yeah, the whole, they're trying to be like, this is the reckoning or whatever. That shit's retarded. But, yeah, and even in that scene, too, where the kid's, like, hiding in the vent and he's, like, looking up, mouth open, eyes open, I'm like, surely blood's gonna, like, splash in his eye or on his face or something. Doesn't happen. And then also, that just doesn't get revisited till the end of the movie. I, no joke, was trying to figure out if the kid in the bed at the beginning of the movie was that kid. And so then I realized it wasn't, so then I spent the entire movie looking for that cross, because obviously...
I assumed the dad was the kid from the opening.
I thought that more towards the end of the movie, but then we just never saw the cross.
Yeah, I assume that as well. I don't know if... Is it the same child actor?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't know, British people all look the same to me.
But, yeah, and then just to get back... So back to... the whole mom thing, the infected baby, and then we're just supposed to believe that an infant, like Nico was saying, I think Jackson also hinted at, I think we've all said it, an infant that constantly is making noise, and he, with his mom, makes a trip all the way to the doctor. The doctor, he's like, oh, iodine, the infected don't like iodine, which, okay, whatever. You haven't explained anything so far, so...
What he said was, like, the disease itself doesn't like iodine, which is fine. Like, iodine is sometimes used as a disinfectant, sure. Where is he getting all the iodine? Whatever.
Yeah, it's just like... And so... And then, I'm gonna jump forward and skip back. We're just supposed... Another thing I hate. They show us the entire journey that the kid takes to get to the doctor. It's long, arduous, it's difficult. And then we're just supposed to believe he takes this newborn baby from the doctors all the way back to his village, and we're just supposed to believe that nothing happens in that potentially multiple day span, like, you're just gonna yada yada over that whole thing, whatever. And then also, yeah, why is he just okay with everything that happens? Why is it the mom has cancer and then immediately, I don't really agree with Nico, like, why does the mom get cancer and she immediately dies? In my head, I was like, I should feel sad right now. I don't feel sad.
Well, she doesn't get cancer and then immediately dies. She's had cancer.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But, like, in my head, I acknowledge that I should feel sad. I should feel something. I don't feel anything. And I was trying to figure out if that was a me problem, but then when I realized nobody else in the theater was reacting, I realized it was a movie problem. And so, it's just, I don't know. And then it turned into one of those, the alpha wanted to kill them or get at them because he wanted the baby. So then I thought it was going to be a thing was like they'll have to run away from the alpha until they give the baby back, and then it turns into Jurassic Park 3 where they give the babies back and the alpha leaves him alone. But then that doesn't happen because he drops the baby off at the village, and then again, after being an inexperienced 12-year-old who almost died on his first outing, decides he can survive outside the village despite the only fact that he's alive is because the soldier and the doctor saved his life, and he literally did nothing to survive except that first instance protecting his mom. I'm glad you can give it the benefit of the doubt, Tanner. I cannot believe for a second that this kid has the capabilities to survive outside the village. He has shown no capabilities.
I mean, even in the final scene, he still doesn't even have the fucking capabilities. Like, he kills, like, 1 or 2 zombies, and then he would have died if it wasn't for those people coming and rescuing him. Like, he has no... I mean, he has some character progression, but, like, he still cannot do this on his own.
Yeah, no, he has... no character progression, no character development. The ending was fucking retarded. Those people should have been dead for many reasons, besides the fact that they're using melee weapons in a zombie apocalypse, and I've always been in the boat. I know this is just fucking, meta or whatever. I've always been in the boat of melee weapons are possibly the worst kinds of weapons used in zombie apocalypse. Not including the added caveat of if you get biomaterial on your being from these zombies specifically, you just become infected. I find it very hard to believe that not a single one of these people have died as a result of that.
Yeah, also that scene was just fucking goofy. They were playing like a speed metal rendition of the Teletubbies theme song.
Yeah.
They're doing fucking kick flips, and they're
like the Chav Power Rangers.
I don't know. I just don't see the vision. Apparently they're like a reference to Jim'll Fix It, which is some old TV show with a very infamous pedophile in it. I don't know, dude.
I thought we hated this movie for different disliked this movie for different reasons. I can't follow you guys with all the editing and shit. I don't watch or see movies that way, at least not yet. But I'm starting to realize this is why we talk about movies out loud, because I'm starting to realize that my rating is actually probably too generous now that I'm had a chance to really go over my thoughts. I don't know if, like I said, I think this would have been an entirely different, obviously, and better movie if the dad had just died in the beginning of the movie and the kid had to figure it out.
This just makes me question why the fuck I rated the second one a C+. I feel like I felt like I was much lower on that one than I gave it.
Now I don't know if I like the second movie more or less than this one.
The second one is still easily worse than this one.
I might have to lower it then, because
I do not.
The first one was fucking full of contrivances, Tanner. It's not the first one. The second one. The first one too, but like not nearly as much.
That is fair, actually.
I mean, this one is also full of
I'm just saying they're all bad movies.
You're gay and stupid.
You have literally had sex with men, Tanner. I don't know what you're talking about. You have swallowed their semen.
And yet.
Guys, I think we're getting a little off track. Are we done talking about 28 years later?
Tanner mentioned it briefly at the start and a little bit earlier, but yeah, the music in this movie is fucking terrible.
Yeah. It's not too good.
I swear we were gonna have a classic zombie movie trope where they're all partying and having a great time, and like maybe the alpha was like playing dead or something, and because they're all making noise and having a good time, all the zombies flood into the village and kill everybody, and then the kid has to survive. There were a lot of instances where I was like, alright, how are they gonna figure out a way to let this kid survive on his own, because they definitely were seeming like they wanted to set it up that way, and that's usually the way that these movies go, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're zigging and zagging all over the place with this film, baiting, switching you, keeping you on your toes, as it were, like, oh, when's shit gonna hit the fan? When's he gonna have to go out on his own to do stuff?
And then they choose the end of the movie to do it where it makes zero sense.
Very strange. I have given basically no positives towards
There's
this movie.
some
We've
fun
just been shitting on
shots.
it
There's
most of
some
the time.
good-looking ones.
Yeah, there's some cool shots. I think a lot of the like the fucking setting sun with like the dark shadows over the hill are cool looking. Like the fucking spinny thing they did. There's a decent amount of good shots. I think generally speaking, the setting looks really good as well. I like me a nice run-down, dilapidated-looking area. I wish a bit more of it was taking place in like cities and not just countryside. Granted, it would have been a lot more expensive for them to do it and like make a fake fucking city like that or CG it. But I think the movie's setting looked quite good overall. I also do agree. I think the acting of the kid was pretty good. I don't know if I'm crazy about the mom. I think the dad did a good job. Generally speaking, I feel like this is a relatively competently made movie outside of the weird editing choices and the very poor writing.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with my husband there. Generally, it's a fine film. There's a lot to bitch about, too, especially in the first, third of it.
First third is fucking ridiculous. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that shit. It was, like, genuinely hard to watch.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The decision to, like, cut in footage from other movies and, like, historical
it's
footage...
really stupid. I did not like that shit whatsoever.
It doesn't make any sense. Like they were I think I heard from a reviewer it was like footage from some like Henry VIII movie, like some historical medieval
some
epic.
bullshit. They're like, look, can you draw these parallels? Don't worry, we'll draw them for you.
And then the footage from 28 weeks later, like why?
The film that you're making non-canon.
Using guns. Yeah, the film that. Technically, they do acknowledge that it happened, but, like, they undo the consequences of that film. Which, like, on one hand, I agree that the franchise itself is more interesting if it is only limited to Great Britain, but unfortunately, like, you made a movie where you undid that. That's another point of, like, why The Last Jedi comes to mind when talking about this one, where it's retconning stuff, and I don't think it is setting itself up very well for a sequel.
So, I guess 2 questions on our way out here. That poem thing you guys were talking about, is that the random, like, radio lady saying numbers and shit or whatever? Is that...
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I guess that must have gone... Is that something I should have known ahead of time? Is that... What am I missing anything?
It's from the trailer.
Well, I knew that. It seemed hyped for a reason. And then, so you said they made it so the second movie wasn't canon. Is that just because, like, I guess I missed that part. How did I miss
just because the second movie ends with the infected reaching mainland Europe.
Yeah.
And then at the very beginning of this movie, they say, oh, well, they pushed it back.
Huh. Yeah, I was gonna say, if that... I guess that saves it from the whole... So what... Not only did they not utilize the whole immune thing with the kid, but then also where is that plot line in this movie? Obviously 28 years later, it wouldn't matter, like, I think. But then it's like, yeah, what was the point of saying the kids have special DNA and they have some kind of immunity, and then they do absolutely nothing with it? So I guess in that regard it does save itself, but maybe that's why they did it? I don't know.
Yeah, shit didn't matter at all. Anyway, we got any final thoughts on this film, or are we giving our consolidated, concrete ratings now? Fantastic. Jackson, you're saying you were lowering yours, right?
Not that crazy, man. I'm just giving it a C+.
Okay.
I am definitely going to be lowering the second one at some point. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm probably going to
I'll
forget.
try and remind you. What the fuck did you even give the second one?
Also C+.
Give it that high? What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Oh my god.
I mean, Nico, you only gave it a C-. It's not like you're super far off.
That's a decent bit lower. Yeah, I'm going with my lower of the 2 ranks. I'm going with the B-.
Gosh. Given what I've said, I think it only makes sense to drop this to like a C+, and I'll just have to lower 28 weeks later.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just could not enjoy this one because of all these issues we've mentioning. So even like the redeeming, the quote unquote redeeming parts of it, they just like couldn't overcome it because like the major problems I had were like the fundamentals of making a movie, like editing and music, you know. So I think I'm gonna go with the lowest of my ranks and say a D.
Are you also gonna be lowering 28 Weeks Later like us?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I did on the last re-rank. We'll see how I feel in the future. I still genuinely enjoyed that film.
And it lands at a C overall.
Whoa. That's about in line with what reviewers I actually like have been saying.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's very mixed. And speaking of movies that may or may not be mixed, we've got Tanner's Pick of the Week. And by Tanner's Pick of the Week, I mean Nico's Pick of the Week. That being the 2023 film, The Ironclaw.
That's right, The Ironclaw. This is a film just depicting the horrid, tragic lives of the Von Elric brothers, wrestlers who are trying to chase their father's fame and unfortunately meet grave demises in doing so.
So, fun fact, as you guys probably surmised by the ending, this is based on a true story. However, in real life, there was another brother, Chris Von Elric, who also killed himself that they decided to not include at all because the director decided that was actually too far to be believable in a movie.
It would have just been too sad. It probably would have been like a little redundant too. It's like, well, we're just gonna keep having brothers kill themselves for a while.
I feel like
here.
it's now. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but if it's based on a true story, I feel like it's justifiable because then it's like it
Well,
has.
they're still trying to make a good movie.
I mean, I guess so. I can't be mad at you.
One of the other big differences I saw in an interview with the surviving Von Elric is he was like, well, my dad wasn't that bad.
Oh,
Gotcha.
But hey, we're making a film here. We need an antagonist.
Yeah. Dylan, what'd you rank this one?
B+.
Respectable. Pretty respectable. Tanner, how about you?
Dude, I fucking love this movie. I'm at an S.
Hot damn.
Doesn't fucking surprise me at all. When Jackson was introducing this movie, I forgot that it was Nico's pick. I would have for sure assumed this was Tanner's pick for the week.
It's so Tanner core, man. I picked the perfect movie for the guy. Jackson, where'd you put it?
I'm currently sitting at an A-.
There we go. Fantastic. I'm also at an A-. All right, guys. Show of hands. Who cried because of this film?
Dude, I did. I actually did. It's insane.
I think I was looking for reasons to cry, but I don't think it hit me then.
3 out of 4 of us are elder brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that really helps for me.
Raises paw. I did as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I cried, but also it's been a while since we watched this, so maybe I'm misremembering. Also, I'm sure that also wasn't helped by the fact that I'm not super close with my family.
Fair.
Fair. Nico, what part did you cry at?
It was 2 separate sections. It was when when all the brothers were like in the afterlife hugging each other and stuff. And then it was
that was for me as well.
Yeah, and then it was at the very end when it was like the shot of him like looking at his sons and he was crying.
I think for me it'd probably be a more valid assertion to say I had a flood of emotions. I don't think I had physical tears.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. So my big positives is I really like this movie for its themes and its messaging, but especially that it's fairly subtle about a lot of that. I think it lets you read into the emotions of the characters and sort of what's going on in their minds. I don't think it spells everything out for you. Obviously, it had a lot of resonance for me as an elder brother and just kind of imagining me going through this situation and whatever. The performances were fantastic pretty much across the board. I thought it was a really engaging story. And then my more jokey positive is the physiques. Fucking the main Von Elric. Holy fuck, dude. Oh my god.
Zac Efron, you mean?
Sure.
What do you mean sure? That's his name.
You know, the problem there, though, Tanner, is that maybe one of my biggest negatives for this film is that while, like, the acting was good, just, like, the brothers, they just felt a bit miscast. They, basically all of them felt way too old for how old they were supposed to be in this film. Like, especially Zac Efron. He looks like he's fucking 40. and they don't like age him up or anything like that, like even with like the time skips or whatever. He just always looks like that.
That's valid.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they gave him such stupid haircuts to make him look younger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My big negative for this movie was the ending.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that it had 4 endings.
It didn't know where the fuck it wanted to end.
Over and over again.
Even with the ending we got, I do have problems with it because, you know, I said that scene did make me cry. However, here's the thing. It had a chance of doing something really powerful there at the end. So, like Tanner was saying, you can definitely read how these characters are feeling, and that's especially shown in that scene in particular. Because we see this shot where it's just like his son's playing in this big, massive yard, and it's him just off in the distance alone, just crying to himself. Because it's like, it really feels like in that moment is when he realizes that, like, you know, from the very beginning of the film, we hear that the only thing he cares about are his brothers. Like, that's his main deal. He just loves his brothers so fucking much. And he's realizing here at the end that, like, he's the only one left. He's the only brother who fucking made it. And that, like, this life he wanted, like, you know, just, like, living with his brothers on, like, their big house and all that stuff. Like, their kids all growing up together, like, playing in that big old yard that just has his. It's fucking heartbreaking. It is unfortunately undercut severely by the bad child actors walking up to him and say, "We'll be your brother, daddy," and then they go play. It's sad. I hate it.
That also reminds me, another piece of like real life tragedy that they cut out of the film is that I think it was 2 of the Von Elrichs were married with children when they killed themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that probably would be a bit much. I will say a line that resonated with me, it was that scene that you were describing, Nico, where it's kind of like words have power moment, where it's like, oh, well, I used to be a brother. And that's such a weird thing to hear out loud, because when you hear about siblings, and especially when he had so many, like, you don't ever really expect to stop being a brother or a sister, especially, like, if you have 1 or 2, maybe, but, like, knowing he had 4 brothers, and he's like, oh, I used to be a brother, for some reason that line resonated a lot with me, and it kind of made me realize a little bit more the gravity of the entire story.
Well, that was especially heart-wrenching because, as we see, like, from him and his later wife's, like, first date, he's talking about how, like, oh, yeah, I'm actually not the oldest brother, though, you know, like, my oldest brother, he died when he was a kid or whatever, and it's like, at that point, he acknowledges that, like, yeah, even, like, in death, we're still brothers, but, like, yeah, in that final scene when they're all gone, it's when he just feels completely alone, and, like, he just doesn't have them anymore,
I will
know?
say, I'd say my biggest negative for this movie is it is such, at least to me, such an incredibly slow burn. It was having a hard time keeping my attention personally. I'm sure this is, you know, wasn't an issue with you guys. It was just like there wasn't enough going on, and it just felt like there was so much time between everything that was happening, and just some like unbelievable moments, but like again, it's a movie based on a true story. But, like, the brother who went on and had a head-on collision with a car on a motorcycle, like, that guy should have died. And just... I find it hard to believe the dad... And it's good to hear he wasn't. It was just, like... Especially... I'll use this scene as an example. This is a bit extreme. But, like, where the dad was basically, like, just trying to be, you know, hard on his sons and all that kind of stuff. Trying to, like, teach him to be tough and everything. Which I don't... As far as parenting goes, personally, that's one thing that didn't click with me, which I don't know why that would make me not like this movie as much, but it just did. But especially at the very end where the brother got the call from the guy who lost his, like, foot, and he was talking about how he was going to kill himself, and he calls his dad, be like, hey, we need to look out for this guy, and the dad responds with, well, it sounds like it's between you two, and it's like, well, no, it doesn't sound like it's between the brothers. It sounds like the brother's about to kill himself, and, you know, need to come together as a family and watch out for him. And, of course, that ultimately ends up backfiring on everybody, and the brother just fucking kills himself because, I don't know, there's a lot of, like, emotion, and maybe I'm getting too emotionally into this movie, and I'm letting my emotions sway my ranking, but, I mean, I guess I didn't rate it super low, but, like, that's kind of like my negatives, where it's just, I had a lot of personal, emotional, moral disagreements with scenes in this movie, but like I said, my biggest negative was probably just how slowly paced the movie was.
Yeah, I disagree with you quite a bit on your take on the father personally, and I don't know if this is controversial or not. I found the father a really compelling and interesting character to think about. Even though he is ostensibly the antagonist, you do understand like why he's doing the things he's doing and what caused him to be that way. And like the way I thought of like describing what he's doing is that like he thinks he's living in a much crueler world than the one that actually exists for him, and he's preparing his sons for that world. But since that's not what the reality is, it does just end up being him being needlessly cruel when that's not necessary for what the world is at that time.
They talk about the family having a curse, but little did they know the curse was their father.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
That's fucking stupid. I hate
that. That seems to be the pretty express implication.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you were being serious or not. That's definitely something I ran through my head. I was like, what if the curse was... Like, what if the curse is self-imposed and the dad is, like, emanating this? We like, it's us against the world, but also he's, like, the root. And that was, like, one of the ideas I got, too, is, like, what if the father is the root of the problems and he's creating these fake scenarios to say that the world's against us, but really... It's like a I think I actually ended up saying this to somebody. I don't remember who it was. It's a self-fulfilling negative cycle where the dad is the problem, but thus him creating the problem causes his sons to find solutions. And then when those ultimately fail, he becomes the problem yet again, and it just keeps cycling through over and over and over again. So I thought that was I don't know if that was the movie's intention, but that's kind of what I got from it. So if that's something it did, that's very interesting. Awesome. I'm glad I picked that up.
Now, Jackson, you haven't said a whole lot thus far. How'd you feel about the movie?
I don't know if I said anything so far. Yeah, I mean, I gave it an A-, so I thought it was pretty solid. I think the acting is probably the strongest suit for this movie. I think all of them do a very good job, though that comes with the asterisk that I agree with Nico. The brothers all do seem very miscast. Like, come on, let's not fucking play around here. Zac Efron's like almost 40. But yeah. I still think he does a great job in his role. I don't really know a ton about Zac Efron, but I think he does a really solid role. I think he made a very good lead, and I would be excited to see more movies from him. I think he's got pretty good range.
Well, do have a great trilogy for us to watch at some point.
That's what I was about to say.
I don't want to watch those ones. I want to watch him when he's good. But
I don't know if he's in other movies.
But I think this is an A24 film, so I think the cinematography is very well done for the most part too. A lot of really cool shots. I like when he's going back and forth, like slamming himself against the wall, just in his frustration. I think the reveal of one of the brothers losing his foot was really cool. There's a lot of just interesting shots like that. One of my favorite characters from the movie was just the main Elric's brother's wife. She was fucking awesome. I expected her to be kind of like a leech kind of character, but no, she's just the goat. She's just fucking kind of awesome. And that subverted my expectations. I think the ending and messaging is really good too. I really like how he works around his family. I think the conclusion to like the dad and his arc is good too. I think it's a solid movie. I'm not like crazy about it or anything, as I gave it an A-, but I don't have any like major like glaring flaws or anything too. I wasn't like super emotionally invested. I would say the pacing definitely felt a little quick near the end. It's like the first half of the movie was kind of whatever to me, and then it got really fast when everyone
it's just tragedy after tragedy. You don't have a lot of time to breathe, but it was that also kind of like adds to the characters themselves, like not really being able to cope with like all this stuff that's happening and causing them to spiral further, just creating more horrific deeds. It works to its benefit, because I definitely felt the most emotion during those moments, and I was much more engaged with that than I was in the first half of the film. But also, like, it is very fast, and it's certainly, I can't just like look past that. But it's not a big thing. I'd like to watch this movie again at some point, though. I definitely liked it a lot. I think it's very solid. And like even a character like the mom, who she doesn't do a lot in this film, and that's That's kind of like her character's whole deal. She doesn't do a lot. But even she had a pretty solid standout scene where it was, I think, the second brother's funeral, and she was just like in the bedroom. She's like, I can't wear this dress. They'll all know that this is the same one I wore at my previous son's funeral. And it's like, that shit's just heart-wrenching.
I just remembered what I was gonna say. So this is in regards to A24 films. At this point, I think it's... No, at this point, I think it's fair to say we just randomly happened to see, like, the 2 or 3 I didn't like in a row right up front. Because I've pretty consistently liked them after those ones, so...
I mean, they make good movies. Let's not fucking front. They certainly have a style, but they make good movies, and they give a lot of directors good opportunities too, and backing for some interesting projects. Like the Ironclaw. This is a very... I don't know if I'd say out there movie for this kind of era, but I don't know. I don't expect this type of movie to get made nowadays.
Well, fantastic, guys. If we have no further thoughts on the Ironclaw, then it sounds like we got that review in the bag. Are we still sitting our same rankings? A- for me?
Yeah, I'm sticking at my A- as well.
I think I'm sticking with the B+.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my S.
And it lands at a solid A overall.
There we go. Happy Pride, Tanner. That one was for you.
Oh, yeah.
Holy smoke.
And speaking of thanks for Tanner, we have the final film we watched this week, which was, of course, the 2000s film Battle Royale.
Dude, Battle Royale is the story of a bunch of Japanese... See, I feel like they call them middle schoolers, but then they also say they're in the 9th grade.
I'm pretty sure they were graduating high school, I thought.
No.
I just assumed they were all in high school.
They definitely
call
call them 9th graders.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do call them that. I don't remember how exactly Japanese schools work. Maybe 9th grade is the last grade for middle school there.
Oh, I think it might be, because I'm pretty sure their high school is only 3 years, so that would make sense.
Guys, I think we're getting a little in the weeds for the summary.
True.
Anyway, it's a bunch of Japanese students. They are kidnapped by the government and set loose on an island and told they have to kill each other because only one will be allowed to live. And then they do. But some of them have a very clever plan to escape. The end. Fun fact, this movie had no stunt doubles for anyone.
That's fucking crazy. Also, Japanese Hunger Games, ? Anyway, what are our rankings?
Actually, Hunger Games is just American Battle Royale.
Dude, you're so right for that. Anyway, what's your ranking?
I'm sitting at a flat B.
Holy smokes,
I'm also
dude.
at a flat B.
Holy smokes, dude, I'm also at a flat B.
I'm also at a flat B.
Whoa.
Pack it up. There's no point.
No discussion
there's no point in
needed,
fucking
which
doing
is
a
probably
review.
for the best. Is the only film we watched this week I took 0 notes on.
It's so...
The biggest problem is
weird.
it's too fast-paced.
It is pretty... I don't know if it's insanely fast. I've definitely seen movies...
I don't know. To me, it was insanely fast-paced. Like, when I got to the end of it, I was like, how the hell was that a full 2 hours? It felt like maybe 45 minutes.
That personally didn't bother me all that much. I also can we, acknowledge for a second how fucked the world would be if, cause, this is, I was gonna say reverse psychology. It's not what I'm trying to say. Maybe you guys will understand what I'm trying to say. If you're gonna, punish your students for misbehaving, and I know that's, a very minute way of, stating what's going on in this scenario, but if you're gonna punish your students by sending them to an island by classroom and having them fight to the death so there's only one of them left, do you understand how fucked you would make your society, not only from a moral standpoint, but also the fact that you're killing the next generation of people? If I'm to understand this world correctly, this has nothing to do with my rating of the movie, I don't think. If I'm to understand this world correctly, are we just supposed to think that this happens on a regular basis and the Japanese are completely fucking their culture because they're reducing the amount of potential people to have children to carry on their society?
Know how bad it get in the next 25
Didn't they say
years.
this only happens once a year?
Maybe?
Yeah, I believe in the movie they say it only happens once a year.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. This movie is very interesting. I knew from the start, I was like, all right, how are we gonna, like, figure out how to make it so, like, not one person walks out of this thing alive? And of course we had all of our clever students. We had, like, the hackers. They were trying to figure things out, which then we find out it wasn't actually those three. It was, like, that one random kid who was, like, in there before, who did, like, a double triple cross or whatever, how many times he flipped back and forth. Also, nope, lost my train of thought. Hold on. Somebody else go.
Yeah, so for positives, I was just gonna say, I think it's a fun action flick. I think it is satisfyingly gory and brutal and all this kind of stuff. Probably my favorite character was the instructor guy. I love, like, his attitude with the whole thing. He's very funny, like, intentionally so, obviously, but I like him.
The Japanese got theirs. Jackson, what were you gonna say?
What I was trying to say is that I didn't have anything to say in that moment.
Oh. I will say, Tanner reminded me, characters in this movie are surprisingly resilient to bullets.
Oh, yeah. They can take them like champs.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Because, like...
They're Japanese bullets. They're weaker.
I don't...
Well, you see, Dylan, Japanese, like, the natural metals that they have on their island are not particularly good, which is why they had to create the folding technique they use for samurai swords, you see. Otherwise, they'd just be too brittle and instantly break if they attempted to use, like, the technology we used for swords over in Europe. I don't know why I said we, I'm not from Europe.
There were well, at some point we were all from Europe anyway. There were two notable moments in this movie where I made that comment, and the first one being where it's the two girls on the cliffside with, like, the megaphone, and that one exchange student fucking lights them up with the Uzi, and I'm like, oh, they're dead. And I'm like, then they do, like, a dramatic roll on the ground. I'm like, that's a bit much. And I'm like, oh, but they're still alive, though. How does that make sense? And then he like, shoots her one more time, and they add that, like, really weird, bad blood effect, in that instance. And then the second notable part, which if that wasn't recognizable, the ending where, it's the teacher guy with the three kids in the room, and, the one guy, the main kid, he just fucking lights him up, and he, like, dies. And then the phone rings, and he gets up like, oh, got a phone call, and just walks over and picks up the phone.
Dude, that shit was fucking awesome. I loved
I can't believe they ripped off Falling Down, though.
Yeah? Yeah, and then the conversation that ensues after, it's like, yeah, actually, turns out I'm not gonna be coming home, and that's all she gets. And then he, like, throws the phone and shoots it, and he's like, oh, the last cookie. And I was like, oh, is he gonna offer it to the kid since he never actually got a cookie? And he fucking eats the cookie and doesn't even chew it and fucking dies. I was like, what the fuck?
This guy's badass, dude. I love that guy. I guess let me talk about the book real quick, because one of my other big complaints with this movie is I think it's pretty thematically empty. I don't think there's a lot going on beneath the surface level at all with this movie, which is very different from the book. Like, did they really make it clear at any point that it's supposed to be like a totalitarian society under, like, a brutal dictatorship?
No. I had a lot of questions about how this world functioned and got zero answers.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Like, they don't do any of the world building in the book. Like, in the book, yeah, it's like they don't really live in Japan. They live in, like, the Republic of Greater East Asia, which is, like, a couple of different Asian countries all under this big dictatorship, and it has a lot of messaging around that and whatever. And, like, the explanation of why they're doing the Battle Royale I find strange in this film. Because they kind of just say, oh, like, some students protested once, and so now we just, like, randomly have these death battles.
Yeah.
In the book, they give two explanations, and I like both of them much better. One is just that, like, the initial explanation we get is the guy being like, I bet just some fucking military weirdo suggested doing this as, like, a combat exercise. And then just the nature of bureaucracy makes it so that once you create a system, it just kind of self-perpetuates, and that's why we're stuck in this, which is an interesting idea. And then the ending explanation... the ending explanation is because, like, when a person wins the battle, they, like, send out their picture, all over the news and whatever, and they were like, by, you know, sending out to society this thing of like, hey, this one person killed all of their friends, it creates a sense of distrust amongst the general population, knowing that, oh, if push comes to shove, I guess I can't trust anyone, because, you know, if these children can't trust their own classmates, what hope do I have, you know? Which is also much more interesting and makes a lot more sense. And another, like, random difference, in the book, I think they said 50 of these happen per year.
Oh my gosh.
So they're churning through these things way more. There's a couple of weird changes from the book, like certain battles are just swapped around when they happen. Like, the big battle at the warehouse with the bomb is supposed to happen before the lighthouse thing. There are a couple of fights that don't happen, which are kind of a bummer because they're decent ones. Like, the guy with the GPS tracker, he's supposed to also be like a martial arts guy, and after the lighthouse massacre, he goes there to investigate, and then the killer psychopath dude also shows up, and they have a showdown, and the GPS guy actually manages to get the upper hand and like incapacitate him for a while and get away, which is really cool. What was the other weird change? There was a big one that I want to remember what it was. Oh, so this is the one that makes the least sense to me, which is that in the book, like, there are no there are no transfer students. Like, they're all just classmates, you know? And I don't know why you would just turn two of the characters randomly into transfer students, because it really undermines what you would think would be the central point of this, which is that, like, being able to create distrust amongst, you know, ostensibly friends or peers or whatever. But now you're like saying, well, these two guys are just explicitly outsiders, and then they're also the ones driving most of the conflict.
We got the explanation, like, oh, this guy, he's so bad that he just joined it willingly. Why was the other guy here? Did I miss that?
In the book, and they do say this in the movie, but they explain it in a way that doesn't make any sense. In the book, he's only 1 year older than them, and the explanation is he was the winner of a battle in the previous year. His injuries were so bad that he wasn't able to go back into school, and so he essentially flunked his classes and had to repeat the year at a different school because they just transfer him somewhere else, and he randomly gets selected to go into the game again. And in this one, they do say all that. For some reason, they say he's like 3 years older, but I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, frankly. But yeah, he's probably the biggest casualty of this, and also the biggest casualty of the pacing, because, like, since he is a kid that got held back and was, you know, one who had survived this thing, he was, you know, the outcast in the thing, and seeing the bond that he's able to develop with our two main characters and him is like a big part of the book, and we don't really get that at all in the movie because we're just having to go through all these fights so quickly, you know? There's a couple other random changes here and there. The thing with the guys that were making the bomb, their plan is reasonably different in the book. Like, what they're trying to do in the book, because I think they don't say this at all in the movie. In the book, they say that, oh, the quadrant that the school is in becomes a forbidden zone immediately after the game starts. And so what they have to do is they rig up a rope and pulley system from, like, the top of a cliff attached to a tree on the other side of the school, and they're gonna fucking, like, you know, rope and pulley, whatever mechanical movement adjective you want to use there, the bomb over the school and drop it on them. But yeah, I remember liking this movie quite a bit the first time I saw it, but having read the book, I'm like, man, the book just, it's, you know, it is better and whatever. I think it just does a lot more interesting stuff to think about and whatever. And also, obviously, like, lets you explore the characters way better.
What would a 7 out of 10 convert to on our scale?
7 out of 10 is like a 3.5 out of 5. And a 3.5 out of 5 on our scale converts to... Oh, it converts to the book scale. Hold on.
What?
On the book scale, I'd say that's probably about... Are there actually exactly 10 here? There's exactly 10 here. It's excellent.
Fantastic. What would that be like on the movie scale? Then,
on the
tier
scale,
list?
that's
Where
about
that
a
land?
B to a B+.
So it sounds like you liked the book and the film about the same.
Maybe I do like the book better, even.
Crazy.
I don't know. Why was the teacher outside?
I don't know, but
Why was he?
I'm gonna blast out my thoughts really quick. Random rape scene. What the hell? Also, sex. What the fuck? These are high schoolers.
Have you seen anime?
I get that there's murder. Right? That hardly matters. Anyway, this is an anime. This is real life, obviously.
Have you seen any like American high school movie?
Probably not. I've seen High School Musical. Does that
there's
count?
sex in that one.
The singing is all a metaphor for sex.
Yeah, it's like Fusion and Steven Universe.
One thing that I thought was kind of interesting is where they painted the picture of distrust, and that first scene that comes up was in fact the lighthouse scene, where it's the whole kerfuffle of like, oh well, this girl watched the main guy kill this other guy, but he did it on accident, and like they fell and the axe hit him in the head, but the other girl didn't think that, so she wants to kill him, so she poisons the food. But then the food gets mixed up because this one eager girl from, like, guard duty comes in and, like, takes the bowl immediately and then kills her. And it's so... I almost said funny. Is it funny? It's interesting how fast that just devolves into, okay, who the fuck killed this person? What happened? Nobody else touched the food. And then immediately, they somehow managed to kill each other in the span of less than 2 minutes. And then it also resulted in the fact that, the poison girl just didn't own up to anything and could have quickly resolved all that. And then ends up killing herself anyway and all that. And then also, I did find it kind of pointless that the guys made a bomb. I guess in the long run it was used to like blind the killer guy. But it all seemed, that whole moment seemed kind of rushed and pointless, like it was misused.
That's another big negative. The ending fight is so much worse in this movie.
That makes sense.
It's like, because like the fucking big bad guy just gets blinded by those people's bomb, and then they just fucking shoot him.
Yeah.
The ending fight in the book. It's like Mimura and his crew in a car, and then that guy also in a car, and they're fucking like trying to ram each other off of cliffs, and they're just blasting each other with guns like crazy. It's really epic, and this movie just doesn't have that at all.
There's a lot of suicide in this movie too. Like a lot of suicide.
Yeah.
Understandably.
It's almost as if the Japanese have it traditionally in a lot of their media for...
I actually don't think they depict it very much in their media at all.
What?
I think it's a bit taboo.
Do you guys, just because I was confused by this, the kids that jumped off the cliff thinking they could... Well, before I say what I was about to say, the kids who jumped off the cliff into the ocean, was that them trying to commit suicide, or is that them trying to escape the island?
Yeah, that was them killing themselves.
Okay, because I got the idea that they were trying to escape the island, but they knew that wasn't going to work,
No.
so that's why I was... Okay.
One problem Jackson and I had, though, is there were a couple of, let's just say we have a bit of a blindness when it comes to recognizing different folks of Asian heritage, let's just say. And so we had a very tricky time telling a lot of the characters apart. And that just led to some real confusion at moments.
Specifically, like, the fucking... Where they randomly were in the lighthouse or some shit with all those women, and we just had no idea if the main girl was part of this group of women. And then we get back to the fucking, like, ran-down tea house, wherever the fuck the temple they were at, and like, oh, no, that's her, that's right. But, like, we are like, what's going on right now?
Very funny.
We're kind of retarded.
That's why I like anime, you know? They're all like color coordinated.
That's
it makes
fair
it very easy to tell them apart.
I had mentioned that scene how in the book, you know, because you don't get to see the characters, and then 3 of them have like almost identical names, so it becomes it's very hard to keep up with them. Pretty funny.
That's why they're friends.
Yeah, yeah, perhaps.
Alrighty, boys. Do we have any other thoughts on a battle royale?
Nothing insightful.
I was gonna say I was impressed talking to ChatGPT over how many of the concepts in this movie are actually original to it. Like the idea of a battle royale, as we understand it, did start with this, which I was a little surprised by, to be honest.
How often do you guys just converse with ChatGPT?
Basically never. I talk to AI at my work for coding.
Yeah, I don't converse with it. I basically use it as a search engine now because it kind of is straight up better than search engines now.
That's what Google
I
AI
believe
is.
ChatGPT with every fiber of my being. Everything it says is true.
Every time I think about getting information consistently from ChatGPT, I just think of that one GIF where somebody's like, ChatGPT is wrong like 75% of the time on a subject I know a ton about, but like I'm just going to blindly trust it on the things I don't know about, and I'm not going to think about that any harder.
That sounds like me. Don't do that. That's bad.
I ask it Yu-Gi-Oh questions sometimes, and it doesn't know shit.
Yeah, no. I ask it programming questions all the time, and it just generates the most garbage bullshit of all time pretty consistently. But also, sometimes it has starting points to jump off of. Anyways, I don't think I've said anything about this movie.
No, not a whole lot.
I don't really.
You said you couldn't recognize any of the characters because they all look the same.
I didn't even say that. Nico said that for me, but
you agreed with him.
I mean, I didn't say it to him because generally I don't really have a crazy amount to say about it. I think it's a fun film. I think the idea is novel for what it is. I think some of the editing is interesting, kind of reminds me of Monogatari in some ways. But it's pretty fucking stupid. The acting isn't particularly good in a lot of the cast. It's very, very fast paced. It doesn't give you time to breathe a ton. Some of the bigger issues is literally just like as you guys are talking about with the fucking bandana guy. Like his character is very strange, especially with his mixing with the 2 main characters. Like they don't help each other out in any real way. So like it just feels like such a weird dynamic to have them group up. It's just so strange. But generally speaking, I say I have fun with this film. I think it is an interesting cultural piece from the era.
Dude, I just realized if they're supposed to kill each other, why did the teacher kill the first 2 students?
They were talking too much or something.
That felt like it ultimately defeated the purpose. I thought the first fucking kill where he just takes the blade and fucking snipes that girl straight in the forehead, that shit was crazy, and I knew what I was in for.
That's another just like weird small change in the book. The guy dies first. I don't know why they change that.
They like to be different.
Yeah. Who cares anyway?
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my B.
I was real quick just gonna like concur with Jackson. Our main characters, well, our 2 main characters, Shinji Mamura and Noritaki, whatever her last name is, Nakagama, don't do anything.
They're just along for the ride.
Not particularly. They can't just hang out for the most part, you know, and then they win.
Yeah, this is kind of a watch along from their perspective.
They're very passive protagonists.
It's so funny too that you mentioned that, because we'll be getting scenes of people being, slaughtered or killing themselves or something, and then it'll cut to them just like walking around aimlessly. It's so fucking
That is
funny.
valid. I didn't realize that till now. Oh my gosh.
I'm sticking to my B.
Yeah, despite all my nitpicking and whatever, like I still find it entertaining. So yeah, I'll go ahead and stick with my B as well.
I need to go and like add unanimous ranks. It landed at a B, by the way. I need to go and add unanimous ranks again. It's like a stat I'm calculating, because I used to do that previously, but I don't show it anymore. It's so rare we actually all unanimously agree on a rank, so I'm curious how many of these there actually are nowadays.
See, and this is a very proud B too. Like usually B's kind of like not great, but like I'd be down with watching this movie again. I didn't think it was bad.
I definitely think this is an easy watch, yeah.
Yeah.
It's some turn it on and don't really think too hard about it kind of movie. Mm-hmm. What are we picking this week, Dylan?
Oh, dude, I haven't ran the numbers yet. Hold on. We're almost there.
I have ran
All right.
the numbers, and I want you guys to tell me a live action or an animated per usual.
Nico? Tanner?
I'm going live action this week. Live action.
I'm going animated.
God damn it, I gotta flip a coin. All right, Tanner, choose heads or tails.
Tails.
It is tails, so we're getting animated this week from Jackson.
There we go, and we are watching the 2009 film Red Line.
Oh my god, there's no way. Is this supposed to be better than the live action?
These are completely unrelated movies that happen to share the
fuck,
same
you're
name.
right.
I'm excited. I've heard good things about Red Line.
I've heard good things from you guys about the anime Red Line. Oh wait, is this where the slide thing, the Akira slide or whatever comes in? Whatever the fuck that's
No,
called?
that's
No, that's from
Akira.
Akira.
God damn it! Now I look like an idiot in front of all of our viewers. Anyway, White Chicks.
We're getting some fun movies this week, it sounds like.
Huh.
It's gonna be a very fun...
And the Patreon pick for this week. It's actually the current oldest pick in our queue, I'm pretty sure. That being the 2004 film Hellboy, as requested by Netagant. Thank you for the request. And I guess I'll also say this too. This movie is 10 months older
What?
than the next
Are you
oldest movie in the queue.
serious? She gets so lucky with her picks. How is it possible that's the one that's been getting avoided this whole time?
Dude, goated pick. I had that on my list. I fucking wait, is this the old... Yeah, this is the old one. Fucking love this movie. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm excited that we got this too because I have not watched this one and I've wanted to watch it for a long time.
I've
It's
heard
such a
good
good
things
movie.
about Hellboy. Apparently the movie's very different. Tanner, are you gonna read the Hellboy
Hell
comic?
yeah.
The problem is Hellboy is from like a pretty long-running line of comics, but if they have a decent one-shot of him, yeah, I might do that.
And something else you might do is perhaps tell the people all about how they too can have their movie requested, just like Netagant did.
Me? Guys, please, I'm begging you, go to your Google search bar and just type in https:// www.guapish.com/Patreon or patreon.com/guapish. And for only $1 a month, you can subscribe to our Patreon, which gets you exclusive access to our pre-Guap show, as well as early access to every single episode. And you get access to our Discord, where you can come recommend topics to us. You can recommend movies to us, just like Netagant just did, and you get your name shouted out at the end of every single episode, just like I'm gonna do right now. Thank you very much to GH, Slayed by J, Blake, Netagant, I Love Lesbians, Top Ramen Man, Inflated Labia, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. Thank you all very much.
That's right. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and we'll be seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.